Coach, how do you explain the whirlwind of the last week for you and your family?
Yeah, excuse my voice. It's been a pretty crazy week, past couple weeks. My wife was just in town this past weekend trying to find a home. Faster I can find the address, faster I can bring all my kids here. So just kind of working through that process, and at the same time just trying to get to know my guys in the room, trying to get more comfortable with the defense and what we're trying to do and trying to establish as a group. But just glad to be here. I'm so glad that practice started yesterday, just to be able to run around with the guys. I told the guys yesterday I was so anxious for practice to start. I couldn't sleep. It was like being a fifth grader again, just waiting for the first day of school. And so I was just so happy just to be around them. I woke up at 1, 2, 3, 4. By the time I hit 5 o'clock, I said, I'm just going into the building. And I just couldn't wait to see them. My family's not around, but they're my family. And that's the type of culture that we build in our room. So those guys keep me going, to keep me motivated, and I'm just so glad that we're in practice now.
What do you make of, I know you're just getting to know them, but the group you inherit, what's kind of your initial thoughts?
You got some, the guys work really hard. I think the Davis twins, those guys are really, really good football players. They were very productive for us last year. We're going to need their experience to help bring the younger guys along. But I like the depth. I think Damian Daniels is a really good nose guard. He's a guy that when I watch on tape, he's somebody that can really get us some knock 'em back. He's a guy I would say he commands four hands. If you try to single block him, he's going to win those one-on-one matchups. So I like that. Having his older brother, he was probably the most impressive yesterday at practice. Darian Daniels, is good to see him, just see him running to the football. He brings great leadership, and we're going to need that.
Hey, Coach, Ben Stilley was talking about how you had implemented some new techniques already. I mean, to the extent that you can kind of get into that, what were those? What were you trying to get across to your guys there?
Just simply, we talk about in our room being able to dominate the run game. In this conference, you got to be able to stop the run, and it starts there. And everything we do in our curriculum, just trying to train these young guys, is just to have them with the mentality to defeat the run blockers. And so just trying to get them really aggressive with their hands, coming out with their hips, being able to shock and shed blocks, and be in a position to make a tackle in the run game. So a lot of it is not too much different. Probably the terminology may be a little bit different for them. But as a coach, all I'm trying to do is just help them connect the dots. Like, they've probably done a drill there. I probably call it a little bit different, and I might coach it a little bit different. But once they understand where I'm coming from and how I'm trying to get them to be successful within that drill and make that connection, then it kind of settles them down a little bit. So I know these guys have been through multiple defensive line coaches, right? And so every single year they're trying to learn a new technique, and there's a new philosophy that comes in. So when I coach them and I teach them, there's probably some things that they have already done that I'm just piecing it all together. So I try to make sure that they understand from A to Z what we're trying to get accomplished with our fundamental technique.
Can you just been around the business for a while? Just when you were at different schools, what did you remember about Nebraska, this program, and about the defense?
Nebraska is a big-time football brand. I mean, you talk about the amount of wins that Nebraska's had. When I was growing up in high school, that was 92, 93, 94. I mean, Nebraska was rolling. And, I just remember watching Nebraska football, Tommy Frazier, watching those guys. And, it's just a brand. My brother was getting recruited from Nebraska, so that was something that was, I've always known of Nebraska since then. I didn't know prior to that. Our family moved from Samoa, so we had no idea what college football was like. So when my older brother was getting recruited, that was like our first introduction to what college football was about. And, just going through that process, like I said, Coach Osborne was in our house. I had no idea who he was. And, lo and behold, now, just going through college and going through that experience, I mean, he's one of the greatest coaches who ever coached the game. And, I'm just so honored and proud to be able to be a part of this program, to know that I'm tied to that.
Was it tough to make the move and join Nebraska?
Was it tough to join Nebraska? It wasn't tough after I talked to Coach Frost. really just having a chance to talk to Coach Frost, Coach Tenander, and just understand their philosophy, the culture they're trying to build. I mean, they're winners. You know, Coach Frost is a winner. He's won here. He's won at UCF. And, you know, he's coming back here and he's going to bring that mentality. And just to know the type of character he is, the type of man he is. He's a family man. A lot of my values align with his. And the way he wants to treat the players. He respects all the players. It just all fall in alignment with me. So the stars lined up, and you know, at the end of the day, when I talked to my wife and we prayed about it, like, this was a great place. Besides the football part, I mean, Nebraska football, it is what it is. But I think in this profession, this world, even in your own world, you want to always surround yourself with great people. And I mean, you can't go wrong being around Coach Frost and Coach Shenan and the rest of the staff here.
What's going through your mind?
Again, just going back to Coach Frost, you know, just connecting with him. It's hard to explain, but when you got that connection and our values align with each other in terms of how we want to treat the players and how we can get the most out of the guys, I knew it was a good fit for me to come here.
What's going through your mind when it's -7 degrees, when you're
a
little bit different?
Yeah. You know, I always tell the players this. I said, you know, when you're at this level, you got to be passionate about what you do. And when you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter. All the extra stuff, it doesn't matter, because this is what you want to do. I wake up every morning, and I can't wait to walk through the doors to be with these guys. And it's just like in your own profession, in your own world, when you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter about the extra stuff. You can deal with the elements. So that's what makes it fun to come here. And then it's Nebraska football. And these guys now get a chance to understand a little bit more about what it means to be a black shirt. And it's a standard of excellence, and I get the opportunity to be around those type of guys each and every day. That's exciting.
You say you can't wait to walk through those doors to get home.
Yeah.
How is the weather change for you personally? It's got to be kind of a shock.
Yeah, it's a shock in the system, yeah. But the biggest shock is when my family and I moved from Hawaii to Cleveland, Ohio. So we've already been stung before. So, you know, my kids grew up, they were born in Hawaii. They had no idea what 4 seasons were. So that first year they were there, they saw the leaves change colors. They're like, Dad, the leaves change colors. Like, then they fall off, you know? And so we went through that whole process with them. And then went through the whole snow, and then the spring, everybody gets excited again in summer. So we've gone through that already. So they know the deal when they're moving back here.
Coach, I'm sure when researching this job, you watched some tape from last year. What did you see from the D-line unit in 2018?
You know who stood out? The Davis brothers stood out a lot. You know, those guys run to the football really hard. I think when you got guys that play with great effort, you got a chance. You know, every time I watch a football game, the team that plays the hardest is usually the one that wins. So as long as we continue to have that type of standard where we're constantly running to the ball, playing with great effort, we're going to have a chance to get the results that we want. But that's initially what I saw in those guys up front.
As someone who's coached outside linebackers, too, can you describe how you see the D-line interacting with those outside linebackers, and how that all kind of meshes?
Yeah, you know, in the 3-4 system, they have to mesh, right? Because when we're in a 3-4 system, our outside linebackers, they have the ability to rush, they have the ability to be in coverage. When we get into our 4-down defense, those guys are now the defensive ends, so they're tied into the defensive front, and there's got to be a chemistry that's built there for us to be successful. So, yeah, there's a big emphasis in those guys having great chemistry up front, because they got to know how to work off each other.
Which guys in the last recruiting class were you involved in recruiting, and could you kind of describe the connection you might already have with them?
Yeah, you know, Ty Robinson, I know he's a big sign here. I'm excited to get a chance to work with him. We were recruiting him coming out of high school. He came and visited us, did an unofficial visit during the spring with his mom, and so there's a relationship that was built there. I actually texted him when I got the job and started flying here. And I told Ty, I said, hey, man, you're the one that made the right decision, because I'm following you to Nebraska now. And so I'm excited to get a chance to work with him. But, yeah, there's, you know, I made a cut-up for Ty when he came on his unofficial visit. I made a cut-up. It was 250 clips. And we went for about 50 minutes or so, so we only got through 100. And then he texted me back. He said, hey, Coach, are we going to finish together 100 clips? So it's just cool to have that type of relationship with him coming inside.